everybody. Once again, another exciting episode of Javier in the Air. So this week, like last week, it's going to be fitness and then beer. So I got little bit something different in both categories this time. So this week, I'm bringing you the great Chip Conrad. He has his own place that is now on the move. It was in California, and now it's on the move, and I'll let him talk about it. And his gym or company or whatever you want to call it is called BodyTribe. So I'm gonna just get right into it. It's rather a little bit longer than normal, but I hope you'll stay engaged and you'll watch the entire part of it because it's really good. Chip and I get into some different points of view, some philosophy, some um, just different things that I think you enjoy, and I hope that it starts a discussion. And if you agree with Chip, good. Comment in the thread below and on my podcast. If you don't agree with Chip, that's good too. Point it out. Put it on my comments on the threads below. So let's just get right to it. And I'm gonna send it out to Interview Hav, and he's gonna be there with Chip. Take it away, Interview Hav. One. Hey, thanks a lot, Podcast Hub. Hey, everybody. Interview Hub here. Have a good one today. We're here to talk about fitness, and we're here to talk to Chip Conrad. And Chip, why don't you go ahead and just talk a little bit about yourself and what you do, your business, your brand, and all that, and then we'll just get into some fun questions.
Well, uh, I have been a trainer, one of those personal trainer things, for about 25 years. And for almost 20 of those years, I had a gym called Body Tribe Fitness. Recently, in the last 10 months or so, I took, not even that long, 6, 7 months, I took Body Tribe. I guess you could say I took it on the road. Wherever I go is now Body Tribe. So I don't have an official gym anymore. I gave that up so I could hit the road and just see the country and see some friends I haven't seen and make videos along the way. So everything I do now is online. I have a whole new online presence.
Excellent, excellent. What's the name of that website for our viewers?
Oh, it's really simple. Bodytribe.com.
There you go, huh? You got that name early so that they wouldn't get you on it.
I even had to trademark it because a lot of people tried to copy it.
Really?
Oh yeah, there's
Yeah.
been at least 3 gyms that I know of that have tried to use that name, and I have it legally trademarked, which I don't want to do. You know, my punk rock aesthetic is like, no, you don't want to be the man in that situation. But I
Right.
created a brand. You know, I spent two and a half decades creating a brand, and I don't want other people just opening a gym under my name.
I totally get you. I mean, I'm sure there's probably hundreds of people trying to steal the name of my podcast right now, and I'm just gonna have to crack down on them. So that's how it works. Well, excellent. So you're on the road. Tell me where you are right now and what you're doing in that city.
So currently, I'm in Birmingham, Alabama, and you can see my newest travel companion asleep next to me here. This is
Yep.
Ko'olau, my new dog, my new rescue dog from Austin. I got it from I got her from Austin Pets Alive.
Great.
Uh, I'm currently in Birmingham. My best friend Dave lives here, and he's helping me expand my website. So he's my best friend slash business partner. We also have a group called Mental Meatheads, which pre-pandemic was a
Yes.
group that taught workshops around the country. It was
Yes.
usually myself and some other trainer or two that we'd handpick that would join me for a 2-day conference. And we did those all around the country up until, well, lockdown time,
Lockdown.
the
Yes.
vid.
Yes. So, oh, that's excellent. So, okay. So let's talk. Last week, I had a nice lady on that we talked a little bit about fitness and stuff like that. And she has her own business in Dallas, and she does it online as well, kind of like you do. But she also does it, in person. And she has, a way of reaching out to customers that way. And we talked about, different types of exercises, and we talked about, some certifications and stuff like that. So now, what I found fascinating is uh, she is not a proponent of burpees. Okay. So now, for everyone who doesn't know, Chip has his own like program video of how to basically unstupid the burpee and breaks it down and does our talk a little bit about your video and then also talk a little bit about why you are a proponent for burpees.
Well, I like to explain it this way. Uh, if you don't use the word burpee, but you tell somebody, hey, you know that squats are good for you, right? And you know that planks are good for you, right? And then you know that there's a great athleticism going from a squat into a plank. Well, that's a burpee. So it's two fundamental movements combined by a beautiful rhythm. Uh, Unfortunately, that's usually not how it's performed or how it's taught. So right now, the burpee is yeah, that kind of uh, frowned upon and hated by many people. I think there's even a website called "I Hate Burpees," but that's because I mean, you know, it's fun to blame certain people for this, but I remember even back in grade school, and I'm 50 years old. So back in the 70s, in
Mhm.
grade school, they'd throw the burpee at us, and nobody did it right, except for that. You know, there's always that one kid who did everything well, and he or
Right.
she would be, you know, picture perfect jumping jacks and picture perfect burpees. And then he or she would always kick our ass in whatever sport we were supposed to play that day.
Sure, sure.
But the rest of us just kind of stood around, and then when we're supposed to throw our hands up for every rep, we just kind of go one, and then stand there and two, and that was a burpee. So we grew up. A lot of us grew up hating burpees.
Sure, sure.
At some point, I realized, you know, being a fan of movement, not of exercise. Nobody likes exercise, but a fan
Right.
of movement. Um, how do we turn the burpee into proper movement and proper training protocol? And that, well, let's look at it for what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a squat. Squats are great. Everybody should be doing squats.
Sure.
And it's a plank. And planks are great. We should all be doing planks. If you want
Right.
to add a jump, you want to add a push up, there's a million other things you can add. You can turn it into a it's a template for so many possible things from a squat and a plank. And so therefore, I learned to not only love it, but to create a template and an entire uh, teaching tool from it. Like I use it without telling anybody what I'm doing. I use it and the basics of it to teach basic movement patterns. It's a great way to teach squats and planks and transferring from one to the other. And it's a little mobility drill, it's a strength drill.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
don't use it to beat the crap out of each other, though. That's the big thing. If you're using it just to do reps and get exhausted, you're missing the point. Because exercise, I, we all know, I call it the fabulous fitness fallacy. We all know that training for skills makes us tired. So then we justify our workouts thinking that getting tired therefore is somehow building skill. And so that's why
Y-
we call it chasing exhaustion. We all go around chasing exhaustion without actually getting anything out of it. So that's not the purpose of a burpee or anything for that matter in training. We're
Okay.
training movement patterns. And I just, you know, you got me ranting about burpees. Great. We lost like 80% of your viewers right there.
Yeah, no, that's all right. I'm sure my mom's still watching, and probably my brother, and two people, two people. That's all good.
They're
So
all here. Where's the beer?
I know, right? We'll talk about beer. Don't get me started on that. We'll talk about beer here in a second and see what your favorites are. But so okay, so cool. So we got burpee. Now, I've been to a couple of your seminars before, or whatever we want to
You're in
call
one of my
them.
videos.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, am I
My
really?
bench, my bench press video
Oh
on
yeah,
on
that's
YouTube.
right.
My
That's
bench
right.
press
We were
video on
down.
YouTube.
Where were we? We were down
That was
in
Hyde
Hyde
Park
Park.
Gym.
Yes. Which, by the way, if you for viewers who don't know, Hyde Park Gym, my brother used to go there like in the early '80s. Very old school. There's some. What did we see? There's
Oh, the whole
some
equipment there.
bars where the weights are welded together.
Oh,
So
the old.
and so they're one piece, and it's just crazy. Um,
It was
so
originally owned by a man named oh Mike. What was Mike's last name? Mike Graham. And Mike Graham was this brilliant pioneer and historian about strength. He eventually moved out of town and it was taken over by a bodybuilder whose name I can't remember. Dave Goodwin. Dave. Yeah.
sounds right.
So it's just kind of an old school raw little gym. Don't expect a stereo or a soundtrack. Bring your headphones because there's no
No.
music there. Just a
Yeah,
cinder
and
block building.
we found a really old what was that? I have it on one of my websites, a picture of me holding it up with
The
the giant,
globe barbell.
yeah, with the actual like old school like circus freak show
Yeah,
bar, with the ball and they were loaded, and it was quite heavy, and the bar itself was probably much thinner than anything I've seen
yeah.
before. and all welded
Yeah.
together, all one piece.
Yeah. I think that's in the video actually. So
Yeah, it
bent
probably
press
is.
video
It,
on YouTube, my channel, BodyTribe 1. There's my plug.
There's your plug. There you go. Yeah. In fact, I'll have to find it and I'll put the link in at the end along with Body Tribe, your link as well, just so they can see old school Hav, from, I don't know, but like 5, 6 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, I think 7 years ago.
Yeah. Phew, that's some years. Yeah. So no, that was a great place. It had some really cool clubs, and it was a really cool old school gym. And so I did that one, and then I think you also came out one time at what at the time was Punch Kettlebell, and
Yeah.
did that. So that's what leads me to my next question, was that one of the things that we did at Punch Kettlebell when you were there was different types of push-ups. Which was interesting. I could only do certain ones, but I mean, I think there was one guy who was doing like black diamond push-ups, and then you do the one where you pop up into the air and clap your hands
Right.
and go down. But you were also doing different types of crawls.
Yes.
So one of the things I really like, and you're huge about this, like you just said, is about movement, not necessarily about exercise per se. You're getting the exercise in, but you're doing it for different reasons. And we were having fun. We were crawling all over that damn floor like a bear, like a crab, like a
Hmm.
frog, and we were doing all sorts of things. So how did you come about with that kind of understanding of movement as opposed to exercise, like overall, and then like how do you keep that going when you have people that come to you and you work out with them?
So one of the things, I'll try to summarize my journey a little bit.
Okay.
Doing this for 25 years, at some point early on, I started like everybody else. Before I was a trainer, um, I worked out at the gym like everybody else did. And at the time, this was in the early 90s, and everything we had to go on was based on bodybuilding. The magazines and the books, they're all about bodybuilding, which is body parts, and you're supposed to look a certain way. It's mostly aesthetic training, and something in that was just it just didn't feel right. There was the little kid in me. There's the 8-year-old child in me who's like, well, we're not actually learning anything. We can't actually do anything. We're just making our muscles prettier, and I want to go play. I want to. I've never let go of that 8-year-old child, and I realized I want to be able to do stuff, and that was a big switch of my entire outcome. And then I realized, well, what are we doing in the gym then? If we're only in the gym to get better at being in the gym, what kind of giant time waste is that? And so I started realizing that there are some fundamental movements that maybe we should all know that empower us to be able to go do stuff. In other words, what do we do in the gym that helps us leave the gym and have an actual movement practice that isn't the gym? And so play and crawling and all that sort of thing were big components of that. And I realized that as adults, we forget how to do all that stuff. And I
Sure.
think if we continue that journey, if we keep playing and we keep moving and embracing the ground and the crawls and looking at a tree and thinking, I wonder if I can get up there, and just these interesting ways of moving. I say move in many ways for many reasons. If we can embrace that, we don't age like the modern American human does.
Mm.
We get older, but we don't necessarily age that way. We're not supposed to peak like we do currently. I mean, if you look at any other animals, like my girl here, she's actually approaching dog middle age, and yet that means something completely different for her than it does for us. We're the only
Sure.
animal like that believes we're supposed to peak when we're in our 20s.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
leaves us with 60, 70 odd years of downhill. And that seems ridiculous. No other animal does that. So why aren't we always being curious about what we can do? And I think we would age differently and have a much greater experience if we understand that we have this constant relationship with our body. And the modern workout scene doesn't seem like a good relationship with our body. It seems like a submissive relationship where we're trying to control the body or demand from the body or whatever, punish the body in many ways. It's almost an abusive relationship. Whereas, and so I looked at why that is. And it's because as an industry, the first thing that people teach, whether it's a trainer or whether it's a class or whatever, or a gym in general, the first thing they teach is exercise, not movement. And to understand the difference between those two, all exercise is movement, but not all movement is exercise. And so if we can understand that we can exercise, which to me means train for movement, then we actually have this whole vocabulary of movement, which means a greater relationship with our body, which allows us to therefore go live a better life. So in other words, we don't live for the gym. Here's my little slogan: we don't live for the gym. We use the gym to go live.
There you go. Ah, that's nice. What a nice little sound bite there. You can use that one everywhere. So that is good. And I totally agree. It's interesting to see how there's a lot of people that go to the gym consistently, and then they're always questioning why they're not getting better, or why they always feel exhausted, or why they're always still tired. Well, I go to the gym all the time, but yet I'm tired every time I do it. Well, because I think that it's become more of a work for them.
It's a chore. It's an obligation. It's a little checkbox we're supposed to check off.
Went
It's
to work, went to work out. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. And it's because we should have a connection with our body where we have a daily movement practice. We should move every day. I mean,
Hmm.
that's just our body has one job, and that's to move. Every system in our body, from hormonal to the exhaust system to to everything, the lever system, the skeletal system, all that stuff. It's to move. Even this uh, is better oriented and has a better idea of itself when the rest of this, when the body is moving. The brain is only on when the body is moving properly. And so, with that kind of relationship with our body, why are we so often ignoring it? Or why have we turned it into an obligation? So we check off that little box every day. Oh, I went to the gym. But that's not connecting yourself with the body at all. I mean, most people I know who work out, vast majority of them, and I've met literally thousands of them, don't have an actual connection with their body. They're just going through the motions, and not the good motions, not the movements, but the motions.
Right.
uh, and they're not using it as an increase of awareness of themselves.
Excellent. Excellent. No, that's really good. And I'm sure I'll get some, or hopefully I'll get some, positive, negative feedback. Either way, feedback's feedback. And if people have a dissenting opinion, please share that with me. And if you totally agree, please share that with me too. And I'd like to see what kind of feedback I get from some people, because it's what you present is makes total sense. It's logical. It totally makes sense what you would do. But a lot of people will probably fight you tooth and nail and say, well, then he's not really exercising. He's
Hmm.
not being a trainer, so to speak. And again, it's because they stamp out these trainers, and they, expect them to do certain types of exercise and expect them to do certain types of workouts, and everything. Oh, well, today's leg day, today's arm day.
Right.
And again, it goes back to what you're saying. It becomes a chore. It's a checkbox. All right, we did legs
It's
today.
everything in the well, I jokingly, half jokingly call it the fitness industrial complex. Everything within the fitness industrial complex is a category, whether it's a program, CrossFit, yoga, powerlifting, whatever, or it's a concept, cardio, weight training. Those are all categories. And so we've disconnected ourselves from our body and instead invested in these categories. And every time we invest in a category, we're actually not investing in it to empower us, we're investing in its limitations. And if we can strip away most of those categories and just realize there's a big world of movement, how do we get better at movement? What are the basics to get better at movement? Then we can decide, and where do I want to go from there? And that's
Right.
going to give us that'll give us much more strength. If we were to actually define the metaphysical concept of strength, that's going to give us a much greater awareness of strength than just putting weight on a bar over and over again. And this is from
Sure.
somebody who trains for competition. I actually do strength competitions, but I
Yeah.
do them as a benchmark as to where I am on my journey, not so much about the competition itself. Like, I don't care if I beat people. I have nothing to prove to anybody else that way. I'm a middle-aged man who uh, doesn't feel I have to prove that sort of thing anymore.
Right.
Instead, I just want to see where I am on my journey and use those things, use that training to make me better outside of the gym, outside of competition.
No, excellent. Good words. Good words. So, yeah, we could sit here and theorize and philosophize all day long. I'm totally into that. But let's go with one more fitness question. Then we'll talk a little bit about my fun questions, and then we'll talk a little bit about beer. So, someone who let's go with someone who uh, wants to start out, wants to get in better shape, let's say, not necessarily fit, because they're older, they're our age, 50 plus, that type of thing, and they want to get better, they want to feel better. I always talk about, you want to be able to help yourself off the couch and off the toilet when you're older. You want to do that. So that's what they want to do. They don't want to have assistance,
Right.
you know,
Be as independent as possible.
yeah, it's simply just to get up. So they're trying to get in better shape. So how would you talk about them, and where would you start them? I'm not talking about let's give me a whole program. I'm talking about just where would you just kind of a big high level of what you would tell them for someone who's looking to try to get in better shape.
Well, it's funny because I will start them the same way I'd start a high level athlete. If I'm to work with somebody new, it's going to be exactly the same. And that is, we just start moving. And how that movement happens is usually on the ground. We will start on the ground and working on playing and being comfortable on the ground. Because as adults, God, we forget what the ground is like.
Yeah.
We got our chairs and our desks and our this and our that. And we forget that sometimes, like right now, I just decided to sit on the floor because I like the floor. And being able to move from the floor and get up from the floor and back down to the floor and understand the mobility and strength it takes just to move and be connected to the ground. I started everybody there because I know a lot of high level athletes who can't even get up and down from the ground. They're so specialized in whatever they do that they forgot what basic movement is.
Right.
And
Right.
so I start everybody I've ever worked with, from elite level athletes to people, we call them fresh off the couch, um, that the same way. We start actually just sitting on the ground and playing. We just play around a little bit. There's no sets or reps or anything. It's just let's move on the ground a bit.
Excellent. No, that's great. And yeah, that's another. I know. I think in fact, you've mentioned it before in some of your classes where, as you get older, a doctor might perform a test, which is simply sit on the floor. Now get up onto your feet without having to
Mhm.
use your hands to get up.
Yeah.
And that is simply a mobility test that they're giving so they can kind of rate you as to where your mobility is. Now, I mean, it's some, and a lot of people have problems with it. I see how I still fight it. I still try to do that every now and then because I remember talking about it. And there's some people that, like you said, can't do it without. I got to have my hand forward. I got to have my hands up. It is something, and like you said, you forget that is something that you used to be able to do as a kid without a problem. I
Yeah.
used to be able to just pop up, bing, pop up.
And some things happen where the process in life tends to happen where we're told that stuff like that, movement like that, is childish. So don't do it anymore. Adults are supposed to have a completely different way of moving.
Yeah.
And it's pretty boring. And I think that happens right around our teenage years because we're told. Can you remember? I can remember actually thinking that I was too old to go ask my friends to come out to play. I was in my early teens. I think I was 13 years old, and I said, you know what, or 12 years old, somewhere around there. And I said, I don't. I'm too old now. I'm a young adult. I'm not supposed to go ask my friends to come out and play.
Right.
and and we go through that transition. We're told in our teenage years you can't play like that anymore. So you have two options: you either stop playing or you play sports. And I think
Mhm.
sports has done more to screw up a lot of people than anything else. Um, and
Well, that's a
this is
whole separate podcast. We'll
that's
get
a
into
whole
that
topic. I
down the
mean,
line.
someone who plays sports and competes in sports and trains people in sports, it's just that when you're a teenager and you're told you either don't move or you move competitively, win at all costs, then we suddenly have this very skewed idea of what movement is. And
Mm.
that's kind of a bummer. We hold on to that for the rest of our lives. And then we're sold when we get in our 20s and 30s and 40s, we're sold what movement is. The industry comes to us and says, here's movement. I'm going to sell it to you. It's packaged like this.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's huge. I hope this reaches some people out there that to a better understanding and leads them to be able to help themselves get into better shape. So I really appreciate that, Chip. Okay, so real quick before we get into some beer, because I want to know some of your beer, some of your places that you go drink beer, and some of the beers that you like, especially
You're
here in
gonna hate
Austin.
those answers.
I know. I'm just gonna put you on the spot. All right, so two questions. One of them is what would be, and I asked this of all my people that I interview. What would be one or two movies that you can watch again and again and again and again for the rest of your life because you just love them so much?
Princess Bride, Blazing Saddles.
Oh my
Oh,
God,
and one more, Amelie.
Amelie.
Oh, I just watched it again, and I forgot how brilliant that movie is.
Wow, nice. Now,
Because it's about a weirdo. It's about a weirdo, but showing how unweird she actually is,
yeah,
and how brilliant she actually is. And I love movies about outliers and
that's great.
freaknikers.
That is good. I haven't had anybody do Amelie. I have had Princess Bride and I have had Blazing Saddles because how can you go wrong? How can
Right,
you go wrong with
exactly.
those? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
I'm a,
don't
I'm a
care,
cliche in that.
especially not in this day and age. I know they would never be able to make Blazing Saddles ever again, uh, but I don't care. It's still a good movie. I'm gonna watch it. All right. Second question, still movie related. What's a movie that you like to watch that a lot of people who know you would be surprised that you like?
Oh gosh, I don't. That's a brilliant question. Suddenly, I feel like I'm on Hot Ones. You ever watch Hot Ones?
Yeah.
Sean Evans, man, he asks those type of questions. That's a good question.
Yep.
Um, um, I got to think of all the movies I actually like. I'm going to. This is probably. I think I'm going to piss off both people I know and a certain fan group. Return of the Jedi was not as bad as everybody says it was. I don't mind the Ewoks, and
Okay.
and this could be nostalgia because I remember going to the theater to see the movie.
Yes.
And it's a funny little story. We got there and the line it sold out, and so my friend and I realized we're right at a mall. There's a big mall there,
Yep.
and we went to the mall and we went to a department store, and the department store had these giant TVs, and Time Bandits came on the TV.
Nice.
So we sat in the mall and watched Time Bandits, and then went and watched Return of the Jedi. So I think I think I have good just memories of Return of the Jedi.
Hey, there's nothing wrong. And you know what? Return of the Jedi really moved up in, as far as whether it was a good or bad movie when Episode One came out. And,
Absolutely.
and then all of a sudden you're
Absolutely.
like, hey, Return of the Jedi is not as bad as we thought.
Yeah. Yeah, those stupid little furry ball things aren't near as bad as a Jar Jar.
Exactly, exactly. Okay, so let's wrap up a little and talk about beer because my next part of the show will be me talking about beer. You go to Austin, you come to Austin a lot. I'm in the Cedar Park area, so I'm right there on the border, on the cusp. What are Give me a couple of places that you like to go and drink beer when you're in town.
You're going to hate
And
this. First of all, the only beer I drink is ginger beer. I know. See, I'm not a beer drinker.
okay,
Um,
that's all right. You know what?
but
All right, we'll let it go. We'll let it slide. We'll let it,
but I
ginger
do have
beer.
a place I'll recommend. I can't tell you how good their beer is, but it's in an old brewery, and
Okay.
it's down in San Antonio. It's called the Pearl District. There's this
Oh
little
yeah,
area,
Pearl Brewery.
Pearl Brewery.
Oh man, I
And
grew up in San Antonio, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Do they still have the museum there?
yeah, well, so they turned it into a hotel,
Okay.
and you go into the lobby of the hotel. They have all the old pieces of the brewery still in the lobby. It's so beautiful. The building itself is stunning. The lobby is just a knockout. And a friend of mine, Christina Brown, did all the lighting for it, for a lot of the lighting for it. So it's very very well done. And the hotel itself is stunning, of course, but the restaurant and the lobby area, all the old equipment is still there, and it's on display, and it's well lit. And so
Nice.
I'm guessing that, yeah, for if you're into what an old brewery would look like, you
Yes.
got to go check it out. And
Yeah.
so that place blew me away.
Yeah, that place I've been there a couple of times. They used to have a museum inside there where the old bar itself had, and this is back in the day, probably from the 40s and 50s,
Mm,
stag horns, just the horns.
okay.
The entire ceiling was just the horns.
Oh wow.
The whole ceiling. So, and then they had a giant polar bear in pose that's like 9, 10 foot tall, and they had some other like stuffed animals that had been stuffed that in the 40s and 50s the owners of that brewery obviously caught and killed the exotic
Yeah,
animals, which it's not done this day. I'm not promoting that, by the way. I'm
right.
just saying that they're there, and it was a beautiful museum. And the times I went, I wasn't even of age, because what you could do is then you would sit at the bar and you would
Mm.
have some of their pearl beer, which if you've never had a pearl, which you probably haven't, um, it's just an old school beer, and the Pearl Brewery had been around forever, and then I guess it finally closed down in the 80s, and then it had a fire there, and then they wound up turning it into what you have now. So
Yeah,
that's
it's a
cool though.
super.
And they have ginger beer.
I don't know if I. Oh wait, yes, I did. Oh my gosh, it was homemade. Like they actually made it in house.
Yeah,
They brought it to my room though, because COVID. I was trying not to deal with too many
sure,
people,
sure.
but they brought it to my room and it was fantastic. That's right. I forgot they did actually bring it to my room.
Nice, nice. Well, that's good. Well, that's good. So now we know Chip likes ginger beer.
Yeah.
It's okay. That's okay. I got ginger beer over here, but I usually use it to make a Moscow Mule. So,
Okay.
you know what I mean? So it's not just the ginger beer. In fact, I don't even think I've had a ginger beer straight by itself. Uh, it's usually mixed with a bunch of other alcohol. So, but that's good. A little shout out to San Antonio for the Pool Brewery. I guess it's a hotel now, so that's cool. But still, we can, are you a coffee drinker?
Chai.
Okay. Ginger and chai. You're killing me here, Chip. You're killing me. All right. Well, that's okay. So the next time you're in town, we'll go somewhere. We can have some good chai. I know a place up here. They don't really have a sit down place, but they make a good chai. In fact, I had one. I had a dirty chai this morning. So
Hmm.
a couple
I'm
of shots.
planning next time I'm in town. I'm going to plan a little movement jam and invite everybody who wants to come. Do a
Oh, that'd
little
be cool.
outside thing. We can all social distance, but still
Yeah.
get our move on.
Yeah, that'd be great. Drop me a line, and I'll put it on the podcast, and just show me trying to do the horrible. This body just does not do good at rolls, Chip. We tried to do that one time, and nearly like twanged my neck on that, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna keep trying, but I'm not gonna video that. That's just horrible.
We'll see what we can do.
Yeah, sure, we'll work on it. So definitely. All right. So once again, Chip Conrad, this is Body Tribe. Thanks for coming out. I appreciate it, Chip. I appreciate the interview. I'll have you on again, probably about fitness, or we can talk about movies, because it seems like you and I are the same age, so we're definitely in the right area to talk about the same movies. And so it'd be great. If you haven't, please check out his site, Body Tribe, and go to his site, check it out. And the next time he's in town, if you want to join in on his movements, go for it. So thanks a lot, Chip.
Thank you.
And we're going to send it back to Podcast Hub. Thanks, interview Hub. So there it was, Chip and Javier talking about great discussion on exercise, movement, fitness, crawling around, having fun as an adult, when you had fun as a kid, and how to remember how to do that. It definitely is a different point of view from a lot of the industry standards that you hear from. And so I really hope this opens up a good dialogue. Anything that you want me to pass on to Chip, or you put on the comments below, I'm sure Chip will see, and then he'll respond in kind. Please keep it to, as clean as possible. I know how some people just might want to, it just might incite some riots, and some people, especially on how he thinks about movement and that sort of thing. And I agree with him on a lot of those as well. So, but let's move from that. And then we talked about the Pearl Brewery, which anybody who's ever been to San Antonio, anybody who's from San Antonio wants to comment on the Pearl Brewery about the fantastic stuff that used to be there. Please chime in. Plus, if you have any Pearl beer, which I highly doubt, but if you have any Pearl beer and you want to donate it to Javier in the Air, please do so. I would be fascinated to not only see the beer, but maybe even taste it. I doubt it's any good if it's been around for a long time, but it would be exciting to see. So anyway, so there we are. So let's now. I took the advantage of this week of having a little free time to be able to go out to the Red Horn. The Red Horn, it's a brewery and coffee place. Let me see if I can actually get the actual name of it, and then I'll post a link on it as well, and see. It's in Cedar Park. Um, Here we go. Red Horn Coffee House and Brewing Company. So, like I said, it is in Cedar Park. It is open to the public right now. There is a social distance for in between the tables. There is a lot of beers that they have on tap there. They have great coffee as well. Let's see if I can get here to see what they have on tap. And they don't seem to make it very easy for you to get there. They either want you to do some ordering or not. So they do have takeout and they do have curbside ordering, and they do have socially distanced tables, so you can go in. So I took one of my panelists, otherwise known as Robert, and brought him out there as well. We met up out there, or actually he took me out there, and we did some beer. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to put up the little videos that I have of them. They're kind of in cut pieces, and they all have to do with beer this time. And you'll see the different types that we have there. We gave different scoring. Robert wanted to be off camera, so he didn't really want to partake too much, but I got him involved anyway. So here we are at the Red Horn, and here we are some of the beers that we have there. And by all means, feel free to comment or for or against the ratings that we give for the beers. So here we go. Hey everybody, we're out here at the Red Horn, and we're checking out some beers. I got a flight of beers myself. Take a look. All right, so this is number 10. This is Hop Sloppy IPA, or is it Hap Slappy? Actually, it's Hap Slappy IPA. This is a 7%. So I'm gonna go ahead and check it out now, and let me see what I think. It's got a nice head on it. Good finish.
Alrighty. Cheers. Thank you.
And I think I'm gonna go ahead and give this a 6 out of 10. Okay, so beer number 2 from Rob's flight. This is the Dirty Chai from the what? I don't know what. Oh, we don't know what brewery this is, but I'll look it up later on. So Dirty Chai, 4%. Let's. You definitely get the smell of chai and the taste of chai in the beer, but it just tastes like, well, I guess dirty chai is like chai with coffee in it, but it's
like dirty dishwater.
it is. Rob just says it's like dirty dishwater, and I agree. It's not good at all. I'm gonna give this one a 2. All right, so the next one from Rob's flight, I'm stealing from him. This is Mino Tom. This is an American stout. It's you said 6? 6.5 ABV. He went with stouts today. I went with a bunch of different ones. So let's try this one. Better. Still tastes watered down though. It's not that great, but it's not bad. It's not like that dirty chai. I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a 3, just a solid 3. You can kind of taste it, but it tastes like they added water to it. Here is the Aranese Belgian Strong Golden Ale. This is a 9.2 ABV, and I'm not going in order of ABV. I'm just going in order of number that I picked it. So let's try this. Very light, like not a lot of notes to it. Almost no smell to it. It's not bad though, but it's just not like much to it. I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a solid 5. Okay, so now I'm up to Number 3 in my set. This is number 23 at the Red Horn. Todo el Dia. This is a Mexican lager. It's 4.5% ABV. So let's give it a shot. Here we go. It's definitely a lager, that's for sure. Not much taste to it. A little bland actually for my taste. I know I've been hitting some other stouts, but even so, I gave myself a little bit of time to cleanse the palate, so to speak. Not much of a smell, not much of a hints of aroma to it. I'm gonna give this a 4. Let me see. I'm gonna give this to Rob, and he'll give me his view on it. It kind of a little bit better than Dirty Dishwater, but not much. What do you think? Out of 10?
For what is it supposed to be, a lager, Mexican lager?
Yeah.
It's like a 5 for Mexican lager. It's
So
a Mexican lager.
Rob gives it a 5. He says it's definitely a Mexican lager. So there you go. Okay, time to try the number 26, which is the Timaeus Tetrahedron. This is a 8.2 ABV. This is a stout that has habanero in it. So let's give it a shot and let's see what we get. Definitely taste the spiciness as soon as you drink it. Definitely on the way down. Not much of a smell to it, not much of an aroma. It's definitely a stout. You get that nice stout smoothness, silkiness to it. I'm probably gonna give this like a 7.5. I'm gonna give it a 7.5. We're checking with Rob in now to see what he thinks as well.
For Tetrahedron?
Tetrahedron.
6.
He's gonna give it a 6. That should tell you something. Tetrahedron, 7.5. Okay, last one. This is number 28. This is the Speedway Stout. However, it is their BA Mexican Cocoa. So this is, I believe this is like 9.1%. I'll double check on that later. But here it is. And let's take it this way and see how we do. Right away, big chocolate, huge chocolate overtones. The smell of chocolate, the taste of chocolate. Now, I wouldn't say necessarily it's Mexican cocoa yet, but let me see.
I don't taste any cinnamon.
I don't taste any cinnamon, so I don't know if this is necessarily a Mexican cocoa. How they distinguish it to be Mexican cocoa, but it's really good. It's really high on the cocoa, so I'd probably give this an 8. Yeah, it's confirmed. So 2 8s for the Speedway Stout Mexican Cocoa. Definitely high on the cocoa. You can taste it. You can smell it. There's an aftertaste when it goes down. It's smooth. Definitely an 8. All right, so last beer of the day. Still out here at Red Horn. This is number 7, Come Out Swinging. This is an aggressively IPA, from what it's been said. 12.15 ABV. Let's give it a shot. Yeah, so you look at the color. It's beautiful color. Definitely a nice citrus taste, smell to it. Really good, really good. Definitely high on the citrus taste. On the front end and on the back end. Like I said, the aroma is fantastic of a citrus taste to it. I think I'm going to give this a solid 8.5. So I'm going to slide that over to the bro, and he's going to try it out. He likes the smell of it. A slight sip first, and then he's going to do a deeper one. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd give that an 8 also.
Yeah, 8.5? Alright, 8. He's gonna give it an 8. So 8, 8.5. Come Out Swinging. We've been here at the Red Horn. I think it's really good. If you haven't had a chance to come out here in Cedar Park, come visit the Red Horn. Not only do they have good beers, but they have good coffee as well. I might get a coffee to go. And so this is it. Thanks a lot. Hey everybody, so that was me and the bro out at Red Horn. Hope you enjoyed a little bit of different scenarios for beer. If you liked any of the beers that I listed, please go out there and drink it up. You can tell them Javier sent you. It won't mean anything. If you didn't agree with some of the ratings that we gave, feel free to put in the comments below your thoughts, opinions. Go out there, try them for yourself, and see what you get. You may agree with this, you may not, and that's okay. It's okay if you do. It's okay if you don't. So I'd like to thank Chip for being on today's podcast. I appreciate it. Once again, that's BodyTribe. I will put the link at the end for the credits. I still haven't figured out how I can slip in the hyperlink, so you'll just have to type it in, do a search for BodyTribe, and you should be okay. Thanks the bro for taking me out there to the Red Horn so I can enjoy some beer. We are going to try to, as COVID starts reaching a point where there may be a little bit better, easier way for us to go out and do some more traveling than what I've been doing, just a few here and there. We'll be able to hit more places. And so if you know of any great breweries, feel free to drop me a line. And if you have a mom and pop business and you'd like to get on my show, I am more than happy to interview you and anybody else that's interested. Drop me a line as well, either in my podcast on the thread comments below, or you can, if you have me on Facebook, direct message me and I'll get you on the show. Always looking for new and exciting people to interview, whether it's something you're passionate about or it's a business that you're also passionate about, but you have a business and you'd like to tout that here on the air, then by all means, please let me know. So, all right, I hope everybody has a good week. Last week of January coming up, gone by really quick. We're still looking at what we should do for the panel for February. So if you have any ideas, let me know, and I'll run it by the panelists. Otherwise, I'll talk to you again next week, and have a good one. Take it easy now.